Because it's Florida.
Because it's Florida.
The Florida EP.
Hell yeah. Coming relatively soon. We'll see. You know what I also thought about?
Serial killers?
Is how we have 125, 124 subscribers, and we have 42 episodes.
Okay. Where are you going with that?
It's more than one per episode.
Oh, okay.
So
I was trying to figure out what math you were going to put together.
Even though, like, we won't have to do 1,000 episodes to get 1,000 subscribers.
Nah.
But that's dope that we have more than one friend per episode.
Well,
subscriber.
How many bodies do you have to catch in order to be a serial killer?
3.
3, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So 2, nah, you good. Once you hit 3, you're a serial killer?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that?
I think that's the actual
Wikipedia
rule.
said that? Who comes up with this shit?
FBI, I think, came up with that.
So you whack 3 people out, you're a serial killer.
Mm-hmm. I think it's even in a certain amount of time.
Gotta be strangers?
I don't
whack
know that.
3 of your family members. Like, what about the crazy dad that kills all his family?
I think any 3
is your serial killer.
I think so, and I don't know that for sure. That might be a number that I'm making up, but I'm pretty sure it's 3.
You know, a lot of people, especially cops, journalists, even you would say some lawyers, they build up a certain notoriety and financial gain by these stories of serial killers. We learned that in the Eileen Warnold case, right? How everybody was attached to this female serial killer because she was a female serial killer.
Something different.
And
like Lil Nas X.
Things get hyped. Okay.
Just because it's different.
Because he dressed like Cameron for Halloween?
No, it was a cowboy rapper.
Was that offensive to you?
No, the cowboy rapper thing.
Okay.
And then it blew up because it was so different and so new.
I thought you were going to say because he's a gay rapper, he should never dress like Cameron.
I think the realization or whatever when we found out he was gay was after he was already famous.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about he became famous because of his different kind of music.
His image.
That too, with the cowboy hat and all of that shit. Like I said, it was just the cowboy rapper thing was new and different, and then boom. Just like Ja Rule became the shit because he was singing.
Right.
And then 50 Cent became the shit because he was real and got shot.
Right. But in those stories, like when you heard 50 Cent got shot 9 times, you get why his inner circle is promoting the violence because they're trying to build an infamous story to get people into. It's kind of why do people love Charlie Manson? Why do people love Ted Bundy? Why do people love, you don't really hear
because of the media, probably the way they got covered,
and people benefit from this stuff.
Everybody, yeah, it's content.
Well, especially when there's a good story. Now this story is about Mr. Danny Rolling. I don't even know what I should call him. Rolling. Rolling, just rolling.
You see me rolling.
Yeah, not Lin.
I'm killing.
Ing. Not Lin Ing.
Well, that's how I say it. I said that word, but that's how I say it.
But he's rolling around killing bitches, and he did it.
Do they have to be bitches though?
No, I'm just saying. Like you said, rolling and rolling.
That's how you say it,
right? Exactly.
That's how Peen says women.
Everything's about context.
Bitches. Write that down, internet.
Well, like I said, everything's about context. And the context of this motherfucker is that he was a psychopath.
Okay.
He was a bank robber.
Oh.
And a bit of a country musician.
Ah. Little cinnamon on top.
It's I could see like. And I hate that we have to create these stories. Like I know that when the Ted Bundy movie that just dropped, a lot of people were like,
"Did you see that?"
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
But a lot of people, I think it's gonna fall under the radar because there was a lot of like the cancel culture that arose. Like, why are we making films and glorifying murderers? It is history, but like when we glorify and we romanticize these type of stories of these psychopath killers, especially ones with certain personality traits that make it a more interesting story. Like we're going to learn this guy, Danny, used to pose. He would rape them, murder them, and then pose them in weird things, in weird positions. And this gave the story more of, you know, like a cinematic appeal, and people were drawn into it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like if he was just dropping, right? Like there's a guy, I can't remember his name now, that just came out, and he's supposed to be the most prolific murderer in history. Have you heard about this guy?
Yeah, like 90-something.
And he's just a nonchalant dude, because he just straight up will just whack them and get rid of them. There wasn't too much, I guess, artistic
right. He
edge,
wasn't like
if you
watching his
define
victims
it,
or
right?
anything like that. He was just
but people like this guy Danny only killed a few people, but it's the way he killed them, the way he left the body, or, and this is what I'm asking, right? Is it the way he killed them? Is it the way his story was driven, or is it that people in the media, also law enforcement, also people that can benefit from the story, do they hype it up so that they can prepare for possibly selling? You know, we asked this question during the Eileen Wuornos case, and there's a lot of serial killers that are associated with Florida that we haven't talked about. The reason I chose this one is because I'm having struggle with that conversation where it's like a murder is a murder at the end of the day, but the people associated with the murder, post-murder, the notoriety of this murder gets perpetuated when you see a lot of people benefiting from it, okay? Because murder happens all the time. Sometimes we don't hear about these stories. You know, documentaries are not created, and we know, being on a small level of production, how much it takes to actually produce something. So to put together these pieces that we might see on a Sunday afternoon on A&E or History Channel or whatever, it still takes effort to put these together. So for someone to greenlight a specific story, guess what? Why? It's because it has all this allure attached to it.
There's all that extra shit attached to it.
That's fucked up. It's a fucked up thing.
Is it?
It's fucked up even on our part. On our part for talking about it.
You want the audience to engage with it, and the audience isn't going to engage with something that isn't entertaining to them, and it isn't entertaining to just.
But that creates people. Danny even said, we're going to hear him, that he was inspired by Ted Bundy because of this guy's a lonely guy born in Louisiana, had a terrible life, arguably. And either way was a psychopath, right?
So to keep doing it is fucked up instead of like hitting the brakes and then just producing what?
I'm saying that we are beginning, because of just what media does behind these stories and the people associated with the stories, we are making, I think, monsters like this guy get more creative.
Which is why the world's changing so bad, is because it seems like there's more pedophiles because there's more pedophiles. Or it seems like there's more crazy killings because there's more crazy people and there's more
it's a lane
mass
now.
Shootings. And
it's a mass shooter is a lane now. You know, I was watching Euphoria. I think I told you this in an offset camera, in an offset conversation we had off camera, that there's a scene.
Offset?
Well, there's a scene where this girl in Euphoria, dope show on HBO, check it out. So she's in the
Zendaya?
classroom. I don't remember her name. The chubby chick that does like
not Zendaya, but okay.
She does the sex shit on. She builds this other character. Side note: she's in class. This kid walks in, sits next to her, and she looks over to him and is like, "You're not going to shoot me, are you?" And the kid looks at her with no hesitation. Great acting, great writing, and he says, "Oh, my bad. Am I giving off the shooter vibe?" And it's like what these kids have to just live with.
Joke about.
It's funny, but it's real as fuck.
But it's funny, yeah.
And it's driving home a point. Obviously, it's a fictional story, but it's driving home a point that I believe kids are naturally just having to deal with that part of psychology now because it happens so much. And again, it's the same argument I'm always having. Is society to blame for making these people out of like if
who's to blame? Is it society or is it the media? Because
these people are going to get produced anyway.
keep,
the lonely guy. We in the previous episode we were talking about a guy's fence, and the funny thing is, like, when you live like that, you have a weird fence and American flag outside, and you have like a certain Confederate flag. Maybe you're gonna get judged as, hey, do we have to worry about this guy?
Maybe 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 for that particular crime or certain crimes that give people infamy and some sort of celebrity, maybe we pass some sort of FCC regulation that says...
You think we're going to minority report people in the future? You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
They can tell the future based on who you are and your DNA?
No, I was going to say that we just don't show them on... We're not allowed to show them on television. Like, it's illegal. FCC shit where you can't show the mugshot of the mass shooter. You can't. The guy who decided to string up 17 people in a circle with an X through it to make some grand, awesome piece of art out of human bodies. We don't show his mugshot or even say his name on.
We shouldn't even say that. We should just say murder. We shouldn't dramatize it.
So any kind of the thing.
We should just say this murder happened at this date. These people died. That's it. No other context.
Right. Like, because what business is it of ours? We just need to know something bad happened here.
Journalism should just be information, right? It shouldn't be opinionated.
Instead of some sort of crazy, like, elaborate story that engages you and draws you in for the purpose of selling money. But there's a ancillary, I think is the right word, effect where these people are deciding to want to be involved in that storyline. So then they decide to go shoot up something, stab a bunch of people to get some attention.
Because why? I'm a loser. My life is shitty. Hey, this is the lane for me now.
Yeah, so now I'm going to be remembered forever. I see some logic in it, for sure.
Especially now, man.
Yeah.
You know, that infamous...
Stop all the...
even since Charlie Manson.
Extra...
You know what it is for the Guns N' Roses guy?
They're still doing, like, shows about this guy. This Charles Manson shit. Fuck him. Stop giving it... It's like fire doesn't work if there's no air.
Yeah.
Don't give it any air.
Yeah.
And it'll go away.
Yeah.
And it's the worst shit on the planet. One of the worst shits on the planet, fire. As far as, like, destructing things.
Yeah.
If you don't give any air, it's like it goes away. It just stops being.
I don't know if this is true now, but I remember back in the day, they used to say that the serial killer phenomenon was only a thing that American culture or Americans would see. Like, I don't think there was a lot of serial killers per se in other places of the world.
I don't know about that. That seems not accurate. Just horrible shit happening across the planet.
As far as, like... Yes, there's always been mass murderers, but as far as the personality type of this, like, dude that's like a sexual deviant that's hiding in the woods, that's killing, Jack the Ripper, right? That was way before American culture.
It's the world's too big of a place for America to only have, the mass killings in a country, gun violence.
It's an American thing.
It's an American thing.
Yeah.
Specifically gun violence.
Yeah. It's our culture, man. Hey, man, you can't have the ketchup without the hot dog, bro.
Gun violence and heart disease.
You can't have the ketchup without the hot dog, and you need that bun.
Gun violence and fucking heart disease.
Danny Harold
being fat.
May 26th, 1954, October 25th, 2006, also known as the Gainesville Ripper, was an American serial killer who murdered 5 students in Gainesville, Florida over 4 days in late August 1990.
The Gainesville
Rowling
Ripper.
later confessed to raping several
Jack
of his
the
victims,
Ripper.
committing an additional November 4th,
So
1989 triple homicide in Shreveport,
Bitch,
Louisiana, and attempting to murder his father in May 1990. In total, Rowling confessed to killing 8 people. Rowling was sentenced to death for the 5 Gainesville murders in 1994. He was executed by lethal injection in 2006. Danny Rowling was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. His father was a Shreveport police officer named James Rowling, who told Danny that he was unwanted from birth and abused his mother, Claudia, and his brother, Kevin. In one incident, Danny's mother went to the hospital after claiming her husband tried to make her cut herself with a razor blade. She made repeated attempts to leave her husband, but always returned. In one example of the senior Rowling's sense of discipline, he pinned Danny to the ground, handcuffed him, then had police take his son away because he was embarrassed by him too as a teenager and young adult. Rolling was arrested several times for robberies in Georgia and was caught spying on a woman getting dressed. As an adult, he had trouble trying to assimilate into society.
You don't believe the wiki facts?
That sounds mad like suspect.
Maybe he had a really abusive father.
Yeah, but how did he get the cops to take him away? Because he was
a cop. He was a cop.
I know, but like, what is that conversation?
The blue wall of silence.
Yeah, well, what doesn't mean anything. Like, take him away where? Anyway, go. Take him away.
And hold down a steady job. At one point, Rolling worked as a waiter at Poncho's restaurant in Shreveport.
Hey, Poncho's!
Hey,
In May
Poncho's!
1990, he attempted to kill his father during a family argument in which his father lost an eye and an ear.
And
In
an
August
ear.
1990,
Shit. You
Rolling
know how hard it is to
had
take
5
somebody's
students,
ear off? You
one
must have
student
cut that
from
shit.
Santa Fe College and 4 from the
I
University of Florida.
I feel like it's
During
easier
the
to take an
burglary
eye
in
out than it is to take an
Gainesville,
ear off your
Florida.
head. Holy crap.
He mutilated his victims' bodies, decapitating one. He then posed them, sometimes using mirrors. In the early morning hours of
So he
Friday,
was, like, making
August 24th, Rolling broke into the apartment shared by 17-year-old university freshmen Sonia Larson and Christina Powell. Finding Powell asleep on the downstairs couch, he stood over her briefly but did not wake her up, choosing instead to explore the upstairs bedroom where Larson was also asleep. Rolling murdered Larson, first taping her mouth shut to stifle her screams and then stabbing her to death. She died while trying to fend him off. Rolling then went back downstairs, taped Powell's mouth shut, bound her wrists together behind her back and threatened her with a knife as he cut her clothes off of her. He then raped her and forced her face down onto the floor, where he stabbed her 5 times in the back. Rolling posed the bodies in sexually provocative positions. He took a shower before leaving the apartment 3. A day later, on Saturday, August 25th, Rolling broke into the apartment of 18-year-old Krista Hoyt, prying open a sliding glass door with a crowbar knife and a screwdriver. Finding she was not home, he waited in the living room for her to return. At 11 a.m., Hoyt entered the apartment and Rolling surprised her from behind, placing her in a chokehold. After she had been subdued, he taped her mouth shut, bound her wrists together and led her into the bedroom, where he cut the clothes from her body and raped her. As in the Powell murder, he forced her face down and stabbed her in the back, rupturing her heart. He then decapitated the body and posed her head on a shelf facing the corpse, adding to the shock of whomever discovered her. 3. By now the murders had attracted widespread media attention and many students were taking extra precautions, such as changing their daily routines and sleeping together in groups.
Early 90s?
Because the spree was happening so early in the fall semester, some students withdrew their enrollment or transferred to other schools. 23-year-old Tracy Poles was living with Manny Tabota, also 23, her roommate. On Monday, August 27th, Rolling broke into the apartment by prying open the sliding glass door with the same tools he had used previously. Rolling found Tabota asleep in one of the bedrooms and, after a struggle with the young man, eventually killed him. 3. Hearing the commotion, Poles went down the hall to Tabota's bedroom and saw Rolling. She attempted to barricade herself in her bedroom, but Rolling broke through the door. Rolling taped her mouth and wrists, cut off her clothing and raped her, before turning her over and stabbing her 3 times in the back. Rolling posed Poles' body but left Tabota's in the same position in which he had died. 3. With the exception of Tabota, all of the victims were petite Caucasian brunettes with brown eyes. Although law enforcement initially had very few leads, police did identify 2 suspects, one a University of Florida student, Edward Humphrey, who had a history of mental illness and bore numerous scars on his face from a car accident, making him an ideal image when discussing news about the investigation. His photo was shown repeatedly by media outlets. Authorities publicly cleared him of all charges after Rolling's arrest. The other suspect was also later cleared. Later, on September 7, 1990, Rolling was arrested in Ocala on a burglary charge and, in the course of that investigation, his tools were matched to marks left at the Gainesville murder scenes. The small one-man camp where he was living was in a wooded area located near the apartment complexes frequented by students, including those of the victims.
One-man camp.
Investigators discovered recordings Rolling had made of himself singing country songs that he had composed and audio diaries alluding to the crimes.
Wow.
He was charged with several counts of murder in November 1991. Rolling was brought to trial by Alachua County State Attorney Len Register nearly 4 years after the murders.
We'll see.
He claimed his motive was to become a superstar similar to Ted Bundy. In 1994, before his trial could get underway, Rolling unexpectedly pled guilty to all charges. Subsequently, State Attorney Rod Smith presented the penalty phase of the prosecution. Rolling was sentenced to death on each count. During his trial, Court TV conducted an interview with Rolling's mother from her home, during which his father could be heard shouting off camera. Rolling was sentenced to death on April 20th, 1994.
He cut my eye, my ear!
Social personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and paraphilia.
Paraphilia.
Bro.
Paraphilia?
You know how scary it's gotta be to just be laying up in your house and a motherfucker comes in and tapes you?
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you know how scary that is, bro?
No, I hope not. I mean, I don't. I
don't,
imagine.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, bro,
the abnormal sexual desire, typically involving extreme or dangerous activities. Paraphilia. So he's into abnormal sexual desires, as evidenced
and writing country songs, apparently,
about them. So, like, I wonder. Wow, there's songs about that. Because those songs.
Not to mention, he was just chilling out in a one-man camp in Florida. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah, one-man camp. That's a weird. Like, isn't that weird?
Well, why? There's only one man there.
I don't know. It almost glorifies it. It's just some motherfucker in the woods. Just one dude in the woods.
Bro, that's so scary. And then it's like college kids, too. So they're there, like, you know, I feel like an adult has, maybe they're going to have a little bit, you know, preventive measures to, like, protect yourself in some way, like
it's easy,
a little more experience, maybe. I don't know, man, but
it's pretty easy to get complacent.
When Kimberly was laying those facts down, like, she was like Stephen King in my head. Like, I could feel.
She said the same thing every single time. He did the same thing every time.
Well, I think
bound the arms.
He found his
and stabbed him from the back so hard that it hit their heart and raped him.
He was raised by a police officer,
decapitated and placed it to.
Like, where are the values in the home to raise an individual like that?
Well,
is it just the lack of love that he's getting? I mean,
that and the all the beating and sending the mom to the hospital. And,
but why would he turn it against women, though? Like, where does that come from?
Well, maybe he's taken after his father. Maybe in combination. Well, I'm not a goddamn whatever, right. But in combination with his father not thinking he was good enough.
Yeah.
He wanted to live up to his father's expectation. He saw his father.
Maybe
beating her up. I'm gonna do one better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna murder them.
Yeah, man. I mean, even though it's you know, arguably is ate a lot of murders. Yes, of course, it's one murder is a lot of murders, but like, I think it was the gruesomeness of this guy that we're gonna see, like the tools he was using, the knife he was using, the fact that he could sit down later on and just come up with a creative song. Like, it takes a lot to write music, you know, and to just be creative enough to like rhyme these words and think about murder and stuff like that. Like, you're a whole other type of psychopath. Like, you know, like you're using this as an inspiration. You know, like a conscious rapper used life. You know, DMX, right, is one of the greatest conscious rappers because he's telling you life on demand, what he was going through. His heart and soul, motherfucker will cry on stage. But to be a psychopath and write about murder like that.
So, earlier we were talking about how there should, or I said there should be some sort of FCC, or maybe there could be an FCC thing where you blur the faces just so you don't perpetuate and get people like wanting to be Ted Bundy or whatever. But I don't know, man. Like, we're talking about this guy now, you know, and I keep thinking how amazing that story is and how I would like to see that. So then, isn't that a version of like perpetuating it?
Yeah.
You know,
me too. I loved watching these stories with when I was little with my mom. She's the one that turned me on to this murder mystery shit, unsolved mystery, all that shit. That shit would scare the shit out of me as a kid, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll walk what I said back because I don't think it's the art's fault, and arguably the media, whatever, even TMZ is art.
Yeah.
You know. Of some level. I know people are like, oh, it's trash, it's garbage, like it's whatever. Okay, but it's still, it falls in the realm of someone creating something. You know what I mean? So yes, subjectively it's trash, but whatever. So we can't really blame the art. for just reflecting what it sees or like
reflection. I think that's the key thing right there.
All of that stuff, it's happening.
Right. We're attracted to what's different.
And wow. And a song, like immediately I'm like, what's the song? What are the words to the song? Right? You know, it's so interesting. So yeah, I'll walk. It's sad, it's horrible. Scary. It's more than sad. It's horrible.
But it's interesting.
But it's very interesting. And I don't necessarily want to blur the Parkland shooter. I don't think it's glorifying him, right? It's just it is perpetuating it, but it's not the fault of the media because it's not the responsibility of them not to be crazy or whatever, or to like go take your meds or don't raise your child like that, or whatever causes these people to act like they act. Yeah. It's not the media's fault that they're exposing it or showing it or just
but not to say that we're any better by any means, but I think the way we're having an honest conversation about it and actually leaving some insecurity, like guess what, I'm not a fucking psychologist,
right,
criminologist, whatever
to call it.
Neither is fucking your local anchor.
True story.
Neither is fucking Bill O'Reilly at the top, or not even him at the top anymore, but Anderson Cooper. These people go to school for journalism.
Yeah.
But they drive study, the narrative.
And then they study. Well, I mean, I'm saying study because they're researching for the story. It's not necessarily to pass a test. Right. They're just starting to find out some facts and things that they could, so they understand whatever they're talking about, but they weren't trained in it. They don't spend years learning about it. But the
delivery of it as being so factual, right, being so groundbreaking, being a place that you can
trust,
validate, right, as real truth. I think that's what fucks it up
because it's framed that way,
right,
and then it makes people think. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I gotta be careful, but it was interesting how I was talking to this person because we were speaking about crime rates or something like that. And he assumed that because it was on the news, then it was true.
Right.
Because he saw that black and brown people committed a lot of crimes, then that's who commits all of the crimes.
Yeah. A lot of people believe that.
And that was just boom, that he just accepted that. And I was like,
blame him? He's not a fucking.
So, and then I mentioned, and I was like, well, the reason you feel that way is because, well, no, that's not, anyway, it came around to privilege a little bit, and he got offended by privilege. Because he's not rich. And I'm like, that has nothing to do, rich or poor. That's not what I'm saying. He was like, why would I think about who commits the crimes and who gets... Oh, it was about police. It was about police and... it was the shooter. It was the shooting. Remember the thing in Dallas? The woman walks in and she shoots the guy eating ice cream on the couch. She was in the wrong house or whatever.
She got 10 years.
She got 10 years. She got more or whatever. And then we had a conversation about like who's committing the crimes and all this stuff.
Because if it's a black guy, for example, then it's okay because they are predominantly. Is that what the argument was?
No, none of it was okay. Again, it wasn't like a bad conversation. He wasn't saying it was okay. She's a dumbass. He was on the side of that. But the part came to like who commits the crimes and why are people on edge. And he just was saying that nobody's like forcing the crimes to be committed, so those cameras just go and cover those stories. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, and all I see on the television.
So that must be the truth.
So that must be the truth. And I'm like, well, dog, you got to be careful when you do that,
right?
Because like, why don't you just look at the statistics? Because I'm talking about. And during that conversation, I was talking about the disproportionate, stopping and the disproportionate killing of African Americans by police statistically. Like, if you're looking at the fucking like whatever, and he's talking about, well, I feel like this, you feel like this because he goes, why would I ever think about it? Because you're in a privileged position to not have to think about it. Like, you don't have to worry about.
That's not even a reality, though.
It's not even something that you have to like equate when you walk through the street. Really, you know what I mean? And you're just in a place where you're just like, well, that's who commits the crimes because that's what I see on television, and that's the problem. That's where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, no, that's the same argument where everybody used to be like, you know, typically it'd be like a creepy white guy that was the serial killer or whatever. Then you found that black dude that's
90-something.
And it's like, damn, it turns everything on their head, man.
Yeah, man.
It's we're all human.
Right.
And it's just what you can catch up with. And it's also easy, too. It's easier for you to go into an underprivileged neighborhood and get a story than to go into a rich neighborhood with protections, lawyers, and you know what I mean? Crime is going across.
Crime is happening everywhere all the time. And usually more felonies are happening at the higher socioeconomic level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
They know they can get away with it.
Are committing fucked up shit way more than the guy who
got
robbed
the attorney on deck.
his dope man or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another Discovery HD. Now remember, this content is all fair use. Thank you, America.
45 minutes, 22
night
minutes.
After night, evil stalks a college town in central Florida.
He's got Chucks on. He can't be evil. Oh, that's her years later.
I'll let the evil in. The evil just took over. If you think of the crimes, we always think of the worst.
Yo, are we gonna do reenactment videos too?
Home invasion.
Don't pause it. Don't pause it. But like, if we should do reenactment videos too, like when we make. Should like do these things here, like we reenact stuff. We can like get people who kind of look like the people. That'd be fun.
This is the hunt to catch the Gainesville Ripper.
One man camp. Hey, get your broke ass out the goddamn.
I needed like a real tent.
I went to a homeless camp one time, like a real one. She was kind of dope, to tell you the truth.
Survival.
I mean, it was kind of dope. The way
it's a house minus the AC.
This shit was dope. I mean, it was better than when I go camping. They had a pet raccoon. It was crazy. Forensic F Factor? Is that the name of the show?
F2, F squared.
Forensic F Squared Factor? All-time horrible names for a show. Holy crap. That logo was a nightmare. Holy crap. I gotta do what? Forensic F Squared Factor? How am I gonna make that look anything like anything? And he tried. Or she tried. God bless her.
It's a time of anticipation.
I'm excited for the year. I think it's going to be a good year.
Really?
Yeah.
Reenactment.
Of new beginnings.
I love it. We should reenact shit. Oh god, it's gonna be so fun. The Fresh Produce, Florida reenactment of the Ocoee Massacre.
Police get a routine call. Request to check up on two university roommates. The parents of Christina Powell and Sonia Larson.
Damn, man.
Unable to reach their
How you gonna murder some fucking young ass girls like that? Look at him. Whole life ahead of them.
All right,
what a dick.
Sonia, Christina, Gainesville Police Department, can you open the door, please? This is Officer Barber. I have a victim down. I need EMS. Send back up. I need a patrol supervisor, too.
CSI Jimmy Ward recalls the scene.
First thing I saw was Sonia Larson's body on the waterbed.
Is that a church?
On the third floor.
I think that's his bathroom.
Yo, the rest of my house looks like shit. Let's do it in my bathroom.
20 times. Sonya was attacked while she was on the bed, probably.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna definitely set my alarm tonight. I got 2 dogs, but I don't got no weapons. I'm thinking about getting a shotgun. I've been thinking about getting a shotgun just to have it. I hate guns like a motherfucker, but like, Florida, man.
Yeah, man. I think about
and shotgun
it
won't
too,
go through a hole. Oh, shotguns won't go through walls. If you get the right bucks, it's from here, you know.
Oh yeah, some lower grade. So it'll just be like a really bad, like just like a get the fuck out of here.
No, I may kill him, but I'm not. It's not gonna go through him, through the wall, through the neighbor's wall, and all that. People be having them big ass guns and shit, killing everybody in the neighborhood. I get like a shotty. It's like if I shoot you here, it's not going anywhere, but maybe into the wall behind you.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying, if I get the shit that's just like, get the fuck out of here, it's like, you know, because I ain't trying to kill nobody. I don't even want a gun. It's just like,
yeah, because of shit like this. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But I don't want to kill nobody. I just want to fucking light your ass up and have you stinging for a while.
9 hours after the discovery of the first 2 victims, cruisers roll again 2 miles away. Krista Hoyt has failed to report for her midnight shift as a clerk at the Alachua County Sheriff's Department. The 18-year-old is studying chemistry and wants to be a crime lab technician. Krista is never late.
That's ironic.
So alarmed co-workers decide to check her secluded duplex.
Oh God, we have a body.
Oh gosh.
Deputy Barber.
Cut. All right, let's do another take of that. You know what I'm saying?
And this time the killer has decapitated his victim.
So this is the position you're talking about, like on a.
Easy to find. It has been propped on her bookcase for maximum shock value.
Oh gosh.
Senator Rod Smith was state attorney for Alachua County.
The crime scenes were terrible. The killer was somebody who was obviously a histrionic personality.
Histrionic.
Likes to stage and make a production out of the
Make a
events.
production.
And,
histrionic. What's the other one I just said?
Learn
all kinds of words today. Paraphilia. Condition characterized by abnormal sexual desires, mixed with histophoria. Who wants to do super theatrical stuff?
It's clear the violence is
Stupid motherfucker.
I mean, maybe he's like super creative. He did do songs and fuck.
No, I mean, I would say that he was super creative, like super duper creative.
Yeah.
You know, just a psychopath.
Super psychopath. F squared psychopath.
What's happening?
Residents of Gainesville, Florida, wake up to shocking news. 3 female college students have been found murdered and mutilated in less than 12 hours. Captain Sadie Darnell was the public information officer for the Gainesville Police.
And it was right before the beginning Monday of University of Florida fall classes, and it was shocking to have that in the midst
Go to the
of
90s
all the
video.
excitement and the happy times.
Right? Got that 90s little poof in the back of her hair.
The next morning, the Alachua County Sheriff gets a call about 2 more students.
Damn, Alachua County. I used to go camping up there.
Tracy Paulus.
St.
John's
River. Not St. John's. Swanee.
Right, there's another one.
The Swanee River.
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
Just inside the front door. A trail of gore and a
Yo, the cops straight took like the model that you get when you move into an apartment complex. Like they give you the design and then they just added bodies.
The scene screams of terror and torture.
Damn, bro.
When you're going bow hunting, you got to have camouflage. I tell you something else too. Aim for the lungs, straight through the rib cage. Either there or the best thing to do is hit the lungs. Straight to the lungs.
Wait, is that a dude?
That shit gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it was the guy too.
Trying to save himself and Tracy.
This girl.
His death announces that
Nice.
no one in Gainesville is safe.
I'm always happy to hear shit like that. I mean, it's horrible that he got killed, but like he fought till the end.
Yeah.
I always said pretty much my whole life, like, you know, I'm not like the toughest dude on the planet, but like you're gonna wish you hadn't fought me. I may lose, but there's gonna be like, that you're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, man.
Wish you had fought me. Anyway.
Never quit, never quit, never quit. Winston Churchill.
Oh, okay. Never. I wish I knew something historically about him that indicated that he quit, because that would have been hilarious to say it right now.
Yeah, well, if he would have
except
quit,
for this.
Yeah. Well, if he would have quit, Hitler would be running shit right now.
Oh, damn.
Christina, Manny, Tracy, and Krista will not be forgotten by the university community.
For a city where the annual homicide rate is usually in the single digits, this crime spree is simply unthinkable.
All that coming together in that short space of 72 hours, it just causes a sense of it's never going to end.
The reality of opening up the door, finding that something really has gone wrong, it's frightening.
Yo, check that tank top.
Students flee back to their hometowns.
For something to happen so close to home, it makes me afraid.
A media throng descends.
Media throng.
Folks, let's be sensitive.
I'm gonna start writing these words down.
Get a hold of them. Let's be sensitive to these families because they're going to be going through absolute hell.
The mellow college community is transformed into an armed camp.
But then there were the people who were desperate to feel safe, and they would go to the gun stores, the pawn shops, and get weapons.
That's what we were responding.
It already worked.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about that for a little while. Just because, you know, I got a castle, and you gotta have something protected, not just your words, I guess, and the police. But I definitely don't want like a gun that can go through a bunch of shit. I don't want like some powerful AR.
That's definitely not her bathroom.
In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, get out of town.
As details of the brutality leak out, the media gives the killer a nickname.
Who casted the short blonde, the short redhead as the cop?
He is a practiced criminal, someone calculated and meticulous. He also has a twisted signature. Each of the women has been left in a lewd position.
Lewd.
This was a production. This was a man who wanted to send a message. This was his set, and he was the designer, and he was also the director. He clearly was making himself a star.
Veteran CSI Steve Platt sees a pattern in the apartment locations. This killer stalks before he slays.
The access to the apartments was similar in that he went in through rear doors, sliding glass doors most commonly, and doors that backed up to wooded areas or dark areas where he could perhaps secrete himself and watch his victims before he launched the attack.
There's also a particular method to how he stripped his victims.
An examination of their clothing, we further noted that it was removed after they were bound. That's because clothing had either been cut or torn off their bodies. The t-shirts or tank tops worn by each of the victims was cut off using a single cut from the waistline hem to the neckline and then out through the shoulders. On the other hand, the bras worn by the victims were brutally ripped and torn and removable and not cut. You have to imagine the control and the fear that the victims must have felt from seeing that large knife rip away their clothing and then be physically tormented by having clothing torn from their body.
The killer washed Christina Powell and Tracy Paulus's bodies before leaving. Prints on Tracy's leg and on a paper towel at the first murder scene.
Prints on a paper towel. Holy crap.
His fingerprints.
An effort had been made to obscure evidence, to clean up the victims, and perhaps make our job more difficult. The perpetrator obviously had some knowledge of what type of evidence could be used against him.
This is a killer who knows what he's doing, and possibly how to get away with it.
F squared.
Glitch.
3 days, 5 dead.
Damn, Manny.
Holds its breath.
I mean, you would think you would probably leave your fingerprint on the sink and shit while you're washing up, or
no, he wipes it off.
I guess.
But then he left one on the paper towel. It's pretty crazy.
National, state, and local investigators considers the big picture.
We were bandying about theories. We talked about the potential. Was it merely a burglary that had gone bad? Or was it a burglar that all of a sudden turned sexual in his attacks? And then why the murder? Why the homicide?
There's this like
you start
meme where a big dude in a dress and a wig walks through the front door and says, "Let's not turn this rape into a murder." Sounds a little like
maybe. I don't know.
Investigators look for links between the victims. All are academic stars at the University of Florida or Santa Fe community.
Academic stars, so like really super, like they're super accelerated, or they're known for their.
Told you that mustache, you're either a cop or a pedo.
You know, as evidence suggests. I actually know a cop with a mustache like that. He's a really nice guy.
Our students and someone that had put them through a lot of terror, that tortured them mentally, and somebody that had a lot of psychological problems.
The 4 women are strikingly similar.
Petite, right?
With long
dark hair. The same haircut, basically.
This doesn't look random. This looks like a hunter picking and choosing his prey. The search for connections also focuses on the bodies. Chief Medical Examiner William Hamilton does the postmortems on all
Hammy.
The number of stab wounds on the bodies varied from.
Camera guys playing.
Yo, this is wild.
Camera guys like playing too much
doing
games
all
with the camera.
Crazy.
Just stand there. I'm getting your forehead, the side of your forehead. He like hits him with the camera.
Like, chill out, cameraman. Goddamn.
The combat knife is cheap and easy to buy.
Ooh, your knife is cheap, bitch. I like your shoes though.
7 inches of high carbon steel.
That's what happens.
You could get cheap knives. You can get a good cheap
knife is cheap.
It's one thing you can get cheap in Florida: beer
and knives. Knives. Here you got some beer. Here goes some knives with it. Here, drop like a pile of knives in your bag with you. We're giving them away. Look, we got a basket right here.
At each one, sticky residue.
Don't you go hurt nobody.
Don't hurt nobody with those knives I give you.
Indicate where they were bound with duct tape. Pry marks on back doors reveal how the killer got in each time.
And a screwdriver. That's all you need.
What's absent from the scenes is as significant as what is found. This was not a panicked killer who struck swiftly and fled. This one took his time.
He drank some milk. He drank some milk.
He drank some milk.
This guy's a piece of shit.
Damn, he ate the cereal too.
Snacks and everything at the house.
Damn, he ate the zesty Italian, but he left the fucking tuna casserole. What a dick.
For veteran CSI Martin Snook, that paints a picture.
Marty Snook, Betty CSI agent.
Yet we find her in sitting position, so we know.
Nah, he didn't get all close with him. He was like, "Nah, you got to back up with that camera, sir."
And we're trying to determine
what would this killer have been doing in this very small one-bedroom apartment for several hours? And
probably terrible stuff.
Proceeded with that and realized, based on where the blood was draining from the victim, that the decapitation happened after that several hours as well.
The volume of evidence in the case is staggering. More than 18,000 items are collected.
The investigators that were the primary investigators in this case, they didn't sleep. They didn't go home. They never stopped trying. It became a mission, and it was a mission that I think...
You know, I think a lot of it had to do with how angelic the girls were.
The test of their generation. And how
They're super angelic.
test would be how they would be judged and remembered for a long time.
One FDLE lab focuses on evidence not visible to the naked eye.
A little Danae.
5 days.
The naked eye.
Oh.
Gainesville. Serologist Jim Pollock goes to
See how close they got to him, but not the other. The cop. The cop didn't get the other one. He was just like over there.
Back up off me, camera.
He started to come at him. The guy was like, "Nah, I got a weapon on me. So keep that back over there." So the doc was just like,
and a paper towel found nearby. Both test positive for semen.
Oh, that's right, you dirty fuck. You weren't that smart. You left the damn spermicide a lot.
Damn rolling nuts.
Oh, that's Rolling's nut.
Christina and Kristen's rapist is the same man. But who that man is...
It's Danny.
Hundreds of blood samples must be analyzed. A suspect list grows to 675 names.
What if we saw? Oh, that kind of let me for a second. You saw that?
Hey, they didn't pick no black people.
It was kind of dark.
Tubes and Cubes Squad. Their job was to interview
Tubes and Cube Squad.
each of those 600
They right hate that.
He
shit.
made all those guys a nut. Like, we're gonna need some of your nut before you leave, sir.
Okay, no problem.
And a nut sample.
investigation and therefore save time.
He's like, but it's no nut November.
Right there. I don't know. He was close.
Nah.
Edward Lewis Humphrey.
Oh, Humphrey. He did it.
Student recently evicted from Manny Taboda and Tracy Paulus's apartment complex.
Oh.
Fond of dressing in combat gear.
Yep,
carrying a
that's
knife
him.
and threatening tenants. Humphrey has a
Threatening
reputation
tenants.
as a violent weirdo.
Violent weirdo who can't dress. It's like, sounds kind of personal.
So
is that a reputation or is that some personal dig at me?
Bank employee Terry.
Yeah, violent
And he smelled
weirdo.
funny. He had a reputation for smelling funny.
The Humphreys boy actually had come in to where I was working the one time, and when he left the one girl, when we all got together talking, and she says, you know, he told me something that just really, really, bothered me. He says he had knives at home that could fillet the skin off my body, and it's like, good Lord.
Yeah, you don't go around telling people that shit. Even if it's accurate, you know? Like, you might have some knives that can fillet some shit, but you don't, that's like, keep that shit to yourself, homie.
Yeah,
I don't want to know that.
I have some good fish filleting knives, and I'm like, they can fillet your skin.
Some really sharp knives at home. Even that's like, okay, why are we, unless we're talking about knives. That's a cool shot. Oh, back up, homie. Shit.
Up in the face, man. It's like, hey, while I was using this camera, I noticed that you have some hairs coming out of your nose.
What is the editor talking about? Hey, man, did you get Marty's video back from the shoot from the Danny Rollins thing? Is everything super tight, or is that me? It's like, yeah, we gotta talk to him. We'll talk to him about that. Damn.
And lives two different lives within himself. The apartment was evident that there was.
Yo, that's crazy. So half his apartment was all fucked up, and the other half was all nice and clean.
Nah, that's not what they said.
That's what he just said.
No, just his life was back and forth.
No, he said he walked into his apartment. One side was filthy and dirty. The other side was clean. Like down the middle and shit. Like a yin and yang. That would be a good meme.
Because it was strange being in there and thinking that there was two people living in this apartment when in fact only one person did.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
Humphrey's apartment provides no murder weapon and no major new evidence.
He's just a creeper, but he's not a murderer.
Woods are combed, ponds and streams dragged and probed. Each time, they come up empty. Then 3 weeks after the murders, the FDLE lab
So that's DNA.
a critical result. Matching of DNA
Oh, boom!
3 crime scenes is complete. All the semen came from the same man.
All the semen.
Is not Ed Humphrey.
Once I knew that
It wasn't Humpies.
was not from Ed Humphreys, my first thought was, well, the killer's still out there.
The task force keeps this development to themselves. Gainesville residents sleep soundly, unaware that their nightmare is still at large.
That's kind of fucked up on the cops' part. Just let them believe everything's cool.
Well, you know, they want to keep them active so they can catch them.
Lieutenant LeGrand Hewitt has lost his prime suspect. He goes back to the beginning and reviews all the theories so far. One lead stands out. There is an unsolved triple murder in Shreveport, Louisiana, a full year before the Gainesville killings. The victim and the method of murder are strikingly similar. Julie Grissom, a petite brunette college student, her father Tom, and her nephew Sean were stabbed to death in a suburban home.
Julie Grissom was the target, and it was very obvious in that crime scene that she was staged similar to the way our main victims were staged. She was stabbed. It appeared that she had been bound with duct tape. He attempted to potentially eliminate DNA evidence by pouring a fluid on her in hopes to destroy any DNA evidence, the same that he had done in our crime scenes here.
Shreveport police think they know who murdered the Grissoms. A drifter named Danny Rowling, who has been on the run ever since. Rowling has led a life of crime. One of his specialties is bank robbery. Hewitt combs the files for any armed robberies committed in Gainesville around the time of the student murders. He strikes pay dirt with a holdup of the First Union Bank near Krista Hoyt's apartment the morning her body was found.
The motherfucker raped and killed somebody and then
Robbed the bank.
Robbed the bank. Shit.
Had a snack at her house and
Ate
then
some
robbed the
food.
bank.
Sociopath is right, bro.
Hewitt learns that a week after the bank robbery, a grocery store was held up 40 miles from Gainesville. But that time the robber was caught. He's now in jail.
That's him?
That's him.
It's Danny Rowling. Processing of a secluded campsite provides investigators with numerous clues.
Found his ass. That sperm don't lie.
Sperm don't lie.
Your sperm does not lie. They will
Sperm-
catch your ass. If you
sperm
are a
tells the
sick
truth.
fuck out here raping and killing bitches,
Sperm.
your sperm will be found, motherfucker.
Yeah, you can't hide sperm. I mean, you can hide sperm, but it's hard to hide sperm.
It's nasty, bro.
It stays around.
That stuff is only meant for vaginas that want you to enter. That's what it's meant for, creating babies in life.
Well, yeah, create.
You're not supposed to be raping people with your sperm,
Like
bro.
that. Well, I don't think you can rape anybody with sperm, can you? I don't think that's how that works.
That's the rape lubricant. Either way, if you're not allowed in, you need to control yourself.
No, I hear you. Don't be a Danny Rollings. Rollings. Not rolling.
I just don't. I mean, I guess it was the abuse that he endured. Maybe his mom wasn't there while his dad was beating him.
Did
but
we hear about the childhood? I missed that. We were talking about childhood?
Kimberly laid the facts down, bro.
About the childhood?
Yeah.
What happened to him during
his dad was an abusive cop, remember?
Oh,
They
the
used
cop
to-
thing. Yes,
yeah.
yes, the cops.
Had him arrested,
Yes, the mom,
called him a
yeah.
little bitch.
My fault. Yeah, yeah. And we were
It's
trying
very
to live up to
demeaning.
the dad's expectations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe the mom wasn't, all there in a sense.
And he didn't respect women after that.
Where do you build this shit? It just doesn't, like, humans, I don't think, we have this argument all the time, I don't think you're just born like that. You might have a little bit of quirks, and maybe you're wired differently, but to just have that sick ability to want to murder somebody, kill somebody, sexually assault somebody, there's something that I think, is it a neglect thing as you're growing up? Is it an example that's set? You know what I mean? Maybe you were abused.
I think mostly it's just like it's a mixture. It's like a gumbo of, where you grew up, how your parents were, what your body chemistry was like, whether you were getting Ritalin or some shit. You know what I mean? And then it just pops out a full grown. You like bake most of your life.
Yeah.
And then you pop out and you just start to do stuff. And some people decide to like rape and murder a bunch of people.
Rob Banks.
Damn Danny Rolling.
Write country songs.
Yeah, I still want to know. Was there like...
Yeah, so hold on right here.
I love my mother. I love my father. And I love my brother.
Now I got the sky for a blanket, the earth for a bed, rumpled up clothes for a pillow. It's okay. It's just the way it is. Take the good with the bad.
Kind of sounds like Charles Manson a little bit. Not a bad songwriter.
I know, I liked it. Actually.
Not a bad songwriter.
What do you say, Drifter Gone Insane?
Yeah, not a bad songwriter, but a fucking merciless killer.
No, for sure.
What if he just threw all that energy into writing songs? Like, remember Axl Rose, he used to wear a Charles Manson shirt, and he said he was inspired by Charles Manson.
Really?
Yeah. He used to wear a shirt. There was an album before Charles Manson got arrested that was recorded at the Beach Boys studios, but I guess he just wasn't accepted by the producers there or whatever. Some say that was the reason why.
They got weird vibes?
You think? I don't know. But the point is that Aleister Crowley, crazy motherfucker, has inspired a lot of artists. Thin line there.
Right. I hear you.
But
that guy was definitely an artist, though.
Yeah.
In all like ways, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing as all of it. It's just like how you grow up.
Yeah.
How your parents treated you, and then it spits you out on the other end is a young lad will hit his dad in the face with a baseball bat, or some guy who's just gonna spend his time in the woods in a one-man camp. Yo, shout out to DNA test. Why? Because they're solving old crimes.
I mean, just the ability to bring. I mean, arguably, do we know that if that's 100% facts, or is that just like a group of scientists that got together and say, "All right, this is what it is"? Because it's somebody's opinion. They're reading a scientific printout of the test, and they're saying, "Oh, this DNA matches conclusively." You can't read a fucking DNA paper. Neither can I. But apparently, it's been throwing a lot of people in jail. Because how would we?
Are you saying that these new DNA things aren't accurate?
I don't know.
Okay.
Of course, yes, right? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
So I have to take a expert's opinion.
I mean, but that's the same thing as like even anything as simple as your blood type.
Right.
You're just sort of accepting that person.
It's the argument with an attorney, right? Get an attorney.
It says it right here on this document. I'm this blood type.
Right. It's a doctor's language, an attorney's language. Like
he said, he's a drifter gone insane.
Yeah.
He
confession.
He did. He said it just now. Drifter going insane.
Right. No, I mean, I believe that it's real, absolutely. But again, I'm just saying, I'm giving the point that without that science, maybe dudes like this would get away with it. Like, how would they know?
Yeah, I mean, and there's been several stories of how, like, Ancestor.com or something, 23andMe is, like, brought up a murderer, you know, because he submitted his saliva to a database.
Oh, yeah, the BTK guy from San Francisco.
I think a couple things. Yeah, that one. And then that happens more than once. And it's like...
Science is a motherfucker.
Hey, man. Don't go around murdering people.
Absolutely.
So then you'll be fine.
Absolutely. But imagine without that, it would just be a whole bunch of... Well, I guess you could kind of trace all the... He was murdering them in the same way. You know, he was opening the door.
Woman,
So there was a lot of, like, fingerprinting there. He was doing the same thing.
But the actual DNA...
Yeah.
The actual...
That's why I say shout out to DNA. I mean, those tests are miracles when it comes to helping solve crimes like this.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well,
yeah.
So the lesson here is absolutely find inspiration in better things than negative things, so that we can have more artwork and more things to inspire the media. Therefore, people won't think that murdering people is a new occupation in life.
It's a long lesson.
Long
lesson.
Yeah.
I will say the lesson is do not, I repeat, do not murder people because you had a bad childhood and you had a bad day.
Yeah.
Just go figure out how to do something. If you got 3 kind of like deals in life, whether it be write songs, camp, or murder people.
Even rob banks is okay.
Rob banks, that's what I was thinking. Murder people, write songs, rob banks, or murder people. Just, don't murder people.
Yeah.
Rob banks.
Yeah.
And write songs about it.
Yeah.
Then you can be like Jesse James or something.
Well, they'll write a movie about you. This guy probably get a movie about him anyway.
I know, because it's a very interesting story.
Because we're psychopaths.
All
of us.
If it bleeds, it leads. Absolutely.
If you've murdered people, let us know at freshproducefloridamedia@gmail.com.
No. Don't do that. To keep that shit to yourself. I don't want to know if you murdered
somebody. We want to recreate it in our show.
We don't want to know if you murdered
We're the media. We don't
want any part of what your murder was and how you did it. And
we need an ill hashtag on our Instagram to go viral.
He's kidding. It's a kid. He's kidding. He's kidding. He's kidding.
They're about to free 6ix9ine.
They are about, and he's about to get a $10 million Netflix deal or something like that.
Something crazy like that.
Do his thing.
Snitching is a new way to get in.
It's a lane.
Yeah, snitch on people.
Anyway, that's a whole nother thing, but yeah.
Yeah, man. My name is Phraydoe Peans. I have not snitched on anybody yet, but I am willing if I have to.
My name is Christopher Thompson, and I'm having good times doing this right now. Since we did 2 in a row, I'm a little drunk because I had 2 of these here. But.
Hallelujah. Create sins that are manageable in your life.
Yay!
Peace and love, y'all.